The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost. Have you heard of Robert Frost? Robert Frost is an American poet, but at the same time, he is known as a regional poet. But his poems have universal appeal. He is known as a regional poet because we can see all those regional atmosphere in his poems. American people, their places, their culture, but his poems deal with common, ordinary experiences of all the people around the world. The Road Not Taken. This well known poem is about making choices and the choices that shape us. Robert Frost is an American poet who writes simply but insightfully about common, ordinary experiences. So, this well known poem is about making choices. We make choices in our life. Life is all about choices, and those choices shape us in our future life. Here, the poet emphasizes the need of making good choice in our life. In all walks of our life, we come across with different choices. We must be alert to choose the correct option. Even in choosing friends or choosing educational options or choosing our own life partners and in choosing the things we need. So in all walks of life we come across with the options, choices. So we must be alert to choose the correct or the best option. That's what the poet wants to tell us through this poem, The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Here, the poet informs us that there are two roads at the fork in the woods. Fork means this, the diversion. So, in the diversion, we can see two roads are there. He adds that the wood is yellow. This forest is yellow in color because it is autumn. The season is autumn, and at this time, trees shed their leaves. By setting the poem in the woods in autumn, Frost creates a sense of silence and a tone of melancholy, a gloomy state of mind. So, with the first line itself, he creates a sense of silence and a tone of melancholy in the minds of the reader. And sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller long I stood. The poet shows regret for not being able to travel both the roads at the same time because he is a traveller. He could not travel both the roads at the same time. He stands at the crossroad for a long time to try and decide the path he should follow. Long, here is a comma, means the pause. Long I stood. The poet stood for a long time because he wanted to decide the correct path he should follow. I looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Undergrowth means plants and bushes. The dense growth of plants and bushes are called undergrowth. The poet looked down one of the roads as far as his vision could reach. As far as I could. So he looked down one of the roads as far as he could see. He could see only as far as the path took a bend at the thick undergrowth. At the thick undergrowth, the road disappeared. So, up to that end, he could see. Okay, so he looked down one of the roads as far as his vision could reach. Okay, So, how far his vision could reach? To where it bent in the undergrowth, to where the rod disappeared in the undergrowth, in the plants and bushes. In the dense growth of plants and bushes, the rod disappeared. So, up to there, the poet could see the rod. Okay, so that is the first stanza. At this point, let us think about the metaphorical meaning of the poem. Let us assume the rod represents decisions we make and the fork represents the choices. Rod represents the decisions and the fork diversion. Diversion represents the choices we have in life, and the undergrowth. This undergrowth represents uncertainties in life, our doubts and confusions in our life. If we choose this option, what will happen next? If I choose the other option, what will happen? So, that kind of doubts and confusions, uncertainties are represented by undergrowth here. So, because of this undergrowth, he could not see further. Okay, so he could not decide what is there at the end of the road. So, he is confused here. The poet is at the crossroad of his life and not on an actual road. He could be trying to see further ahead into the future but is unable to, so he has to be cautious in his choice. So, because of these uncertainties or doubts or confusions, we were unable to make choices in our life. And that choice will change our life forever. So, here the poet wanted to choose the correct or the best option. That's why he stood there for a long time. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth.